Yo, did you check out the first episode of She-Hulk? Let's talk about it. Welcome back, everyone. I am Left Eye Ego, and today we're going to be talking about the first episode that aired for She-Hulk. We're actually going to be contrasting this with the earlier depictions of her, both in comic book lore and in some of her animated iterations. Before you ask, don't pay attention to all this back here with it being empty. No, didn't get robbed.
Thief! Stop thief!
No one stole anything. We're just doing a little bit of restructuring here around E.G.O HQ. But the topic for She-Hulk was so big that I could not do it alone. So I actually had to bring in my man, Justin Ice, and my other man, the Stuntman. So by all means, take a listen to what they both got to say and enjoy. Justin Ice, because he keeps it chill. What's going on, Mr. Ice? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. What's happening, everybody? This is your boy, Justin Ice. I keep it chill. What's happening?
Yeah, I gotta have to see more of this man. But yeah, the main reason we're on today is because we're going over pretty much a tale of two She-Hulks, contrasting the kind of the history comically and animated wise of the She-Hulk versus what we're being seen with Disney Plus. So to bring that out, I've got your man Justin Ice on here, who's knowing a little bit more about She-Hulk because he was in the age when She-Hulk was actually at her peak in terms of popularity. So a little bit, okay, all right.
I'm being honest, everybody. Justin Ice knows a little bit, but I do know a thing or two about a thing or two. Let's get to it. Let's wrap it. Let's go. Left Eye Ego. Right. That's my boy. Let's do this.
All right. So basically, let me get. All right. What is the backstory from what you can recall of She-Hulk?
I can tell you, the Sunday morning cartoon Hulk, Incredible Hulk Adventure is introduced, but it's still the same. I think they deliver the same general premise: is that she gets really hurt bad. Now I know in the cinematic universe they don't have every character. In the old animated show, I think he was being hunted by Dr. Doom, maybe, and she gets hurt really bad. It's triage medicine, and the only solution he could come up with to save her life was to give her a blood transfusion. And because they were family members, what have you. And the blood transfusion imbued her with some of the powers of the Incredible Hulk. Now, from what I understand, also early versions of She-Hulk, whenever she was actually very much like the Hulk, in which when she would become the Hulk, she would be like, I'm angry, and her clothes would rip and she would smash stuff. And over later years, they changed that, and it was like she stayed sane when she transformed, and she just became a very tall, muscular, busty, vivacious version of herself. So it was like plain Jane becomes like hot green hottie kind of thing.
Okay, all right. And I mean, did they ever go to like where her personality was in terms of, I guess, her plain Jane version versus the She-Hulk version? Like, what was she like when she
when they did the whole she stayed sane thing? She was just more confident, more sassy. She was the sassy pants when she became the She-Hulk, and she was like feeling herself. She was like, who like this? Y'all like this green skin over here. My milkshake bring all it, but it was like the Shamrock Shake that comes out every year on St. Patty's Day. So my Shamrock Shake brings all the boys to the yard, that kind of thing. That's what she was doing.
As far as power sets, do you remember what that was like? I know that she technically isn't supposed to be as strong as the Hulk, but were there any differences that you noted between She-Hulk compared to the Hulk?
They kind of suggested that because she was a leaner, she was definitely stronger than, not as strong as the Hulk, but the Hulk is the strongest ever. But beyond that, because her physique was leaner and not as bulky, she was considered significantly more agile, and definitely fought with a more of a martial arts flair. Ooh, what's up? Okay. So they kind of put that in. They kind of gave her that a little bit, kind of like a Wonder Woman
Okay. Oh, I do like that. That was more agile than anything else. The strength was, I guess, somewhat comparable, but they lean more in the terms of agility over just brute strength.
Yeah, when you think about like Wonder Woman being incredibly brute strong, but also hella finesse. What finesse? What finesse is
Okay.
what you face. Um, you know, they kind of She-Hulk kind of had that flair. Um,
Uh,
wasn't a huge fan of She-Hulk. Didn't really follow the that universe, but I mean, generally aware of it. She was a member of the Fantastic Four.
okay.
Um, things like that. She had her fair share of adventures as the female version of the Hulk, as most the tokenized characters. Female version of
Yeah.
insert flagship character. You know,
Okay. All
so
right. Okay. I guess I'm trying to figure out in terms of, did she even have an arch nemesis, or did they ever make it to where they took a Hulk villain and put him against her? Like, do you even recall her even having like a huge, I guess, arch
well,
nemesis or?
I mean, she had her own group of villains, but
Hmm.
when you're kind when but the challenge is when you're a tokenized character, it's hard to build a universe for them if you think
Okay.
about it. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
who does Batgirl fight, really, besides other parts of the Batman universe?
The only one I
So
could
it's,
think of was like a virus when she was Oracle. I can't remember a typical Batgirl villain. I mean,
who does Supergirl fight, really? And it isn't like directly
okay.
connected to Superman or, you know, in that way.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, here comes She-Hulk, and it's like, oh, what's her story? It's like she's a lady who's like the Hulk, so she's green and she has muscles and she's a lady. So what's her deal? She's the She-Hulk. Like, the Hulk is sort of like this
Mhm.
merging of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the Frankenstein's monster. And we're talking black and white movies more so than the actual books,
Right.
because I think in the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, he didn't
Hmm.
look super monstrous.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But when
Yeah.
we're talking about um, like the old Frankenstein movies, black and white movies, he was a hulking monster that everybody was terribly afraid of.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? So, but he was gentle
Okay.
at his core. He wasn't like a monster. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he just looked monstrous. But then you have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Mr. Hyde was a straight up evil son of a gun. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, later incarnations, they made him kind of like a hulky kind of character. But if you remember the old film, he was just like the bad guy. So you
Yeah.
have your Dr. Jekyll and Frankenstein's monsters like the Hulk. So it's sort of the story of this guy who is being plagued by this transformation that he can't really control, right?
Okay.
But the transformation, even though it's generally hated and sought after by the
Mhm.
military and all that other stuff, the transformation is refuses to hurt and is surprisingly capable of not hurting anyone
Okay.
when he,
Yeah.
even though he's a rage, seems to be seemingly a rage monster,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But not a true monster, which is why he can be a hero, or he's on the Marvel superheroes situation. So his story is layered, right?
Okay.
And it kind of took advantage of the whole nuclear scare. So he becomes the Hulk, testing a thermonuclear weapon using gamma radiation. He tries to save a young man who was caught in the testing site, and then he's transformed, never intending to be the guinea pig in this situation, but he is then transformed by, you know,
Yeah.
the explosion, and then the very people he was serving to create this weapon, the military, become take no accountability and want to hunt and destroy or what have you, and so
Yeah.
it's complex. It's complex, and then they start to add in the and I think a part of what She-Hulk really helps leverage for the Hulk story, which is interesting, her story helps leverage his story a little bit in the sense that because she doesn't change attitude,
okay,
and Bruce does, it's introduced that he has split personality, some kind of split personality disorder, some hidden trauma, and so that the Hulk is just a separate personality.
okay,
And that if he can, in which they go on to create the Professor Hulk, Joe Fixit, and the other versions of the Hulk, and to say that, well, all that power isn't necessary, is one, he is charged up, he has a lot of power, but
okay,
ultimately that's a different aspect of his personality. That's a piece of his brain. So it's, once again, it's a deep, it became a deep and very complex story.
okay.
The Hulk. The She-Hulk,
Okay, yeah. Go, keep going,
I
keep
don't know
going.
what
Yeah.
the complexity is, other than here's the Lady Hulk. So,
And
I mean,
it sounds like it's
maybe a
always
reasonable
been.
question.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was
I
gonna say, so it
apologize.
sounds like it's always been like that since her inception. Is that even though she's there, all it does is deepen the complexities of Bruce Banner's Hulk, but there don't seem to be any, I guess, drawbacks for being She-Hulk. Like, there's no, it doesn't like there's any struggle. Like, what do you remember what her struggle even was outside of just confidence?
I think, I don't know. I think some of the struggle might have been that she refused to be herself. Like, I guess it was like an image thing. Like, she
Okay.
wouldn't be her original personality. She spent all of her time as She-Hulk.
Okay.
Maybe, if that's complex. Once
That's
again, I'm not a huge. I mean, she would be on the team and she'd be awesome. You know, if she wanted to be stronger, she can't get stronger as She-Hulk. But if she transforms back into a regular personality, she
okay.
has to. She can, if she exercises and boosts the base level. When she transforms back into She-Hulk, she's even stronger than she was before because it's a magnification of her current
Of
self.
her current self. Okay. I do
Hmm.
like that wrinkle of her being She-Hulk. It's just that's what I always want to wonder is, DC is about embracing godhood, and with Marvel, it's usually kind of an internal struggle. But I just wanted to know if there was any other struggle outside of image for She-Hulk that would have been,
She's
her
she's
main
plain
conflict.
she's plain she was plain an interesting nerdy lawyer who suddenly got a chance to not only be this tall, voluptuous, super hot woman, she's also super powerful, and nobody cares that her skin is green.
Green.
So she's like, when I'm normal, I'm nobody. When I'm She-Hulk, I'm everybody. I guess that could be complex. That could be, maybe that's it. Like I said,
Okay.
this is all subjective when talking to Justin Nice. And I'm only giving you my best rendition of what I think could possibly be the thing that it could be.
Coming out, guys, get used to more of Justin Ice in the future. I'm gonna have to be bringing him on again. I know he loves this. But yeah, shout out the Instagram that you use. And
But Godfist Training, you can find me on Instagram. Send me a direct message.
out part 2 coming up next.